Today we're going to be talking about processes involving hazards with the realistic potential to cause major consequences. These processes include using flammable liquids and gases, hazardous chemicals, compressed gases, and pressure systems, all of which are considered major hazards. But what we refer to as major hazards will now be called high consequence hazards moving forward. My name is Brandi Geyer, and this is High Consequence Hazards. So what is a high consequence hazard? A hazard that could result in an incident with any of the following consequences. From a safety standpoint, its potential to have multiple fatalities. Or environmentally, it's the potential to obtain $100,000 in fines or remediation costs, or long-term remediation of 10 years or more. Lastly, if an asset or process has the potential to have an event that would shut down a large part or whole building, that would be considered a high consequence hazard. An example of one of the largest and well-known high-consequence hazard incidents would be the BP Deepwater Horizon oil spill that occurred in 2010. 11 people were killed, 17 injured, and extensive environmental damage. BP set up a $20 billion fund to compensate victims of the 3-month spill. The fund has nearly 1 million claims. High-consequence hazards fall under the definition of process safety and involves major incidents and occur infrequently, not to be confused with occupational safety hazards, which involve slips, trips, and falls, and physical strains that occur more frequently. Both are very important, but process safety requires a different approach to managing risk, and that's why a management system we refer to as the accountability framework has been put into place. This provides each high consequence hazard with a designated accountable person, who is typically the most senior manager in the organization, a responsible person, who is appointed by the AP and is the designated owner of the process and is responsible for its safe operation. An SME, which is a subject matter expert, who is an internal or external resource with in-depth knowledge of the specific high consequence hazard topic. And lastly, a dedicated HSE point of contact. For the Indianapolis campus, the AP and RP are listed on the High Consequence Hazard Master Asset List, as well as within Simple Compliance, which is an online management system we're using that allows everyone within the accountability framework to track the overall control status of their high consequence hazard, as well as the improvement activities occurring. Within Simple Compliance, it is the responsibility of the RP to maintain and update the control status of their hazard at least every 90 days. For any questions or help within Simple Compliance, your main resource will be your designated HSE business partner. When you look at the risk matrix, by definition, high consequence hazards include the top row of the matrix, which is level 5 in the consequence category, meaning the event has the potential to make a huge environmental, safety, and business impact. The probability of a level 5 event taking place ranges from P1, which is extremely unlikely to occur, to P5, which is frequent or regular occurrence. The potential severity of a high consequence hazard event never diminishes unless the hazard or process is re-engineered or removed from operation. Probability does, however, have the potential to decrease depending upon the safeguards that are put into place, thereby reducing the risk score. All high consequence hazards require a HAZOP study to be performed. HAZOPs aim to identify both hazards and operability risk and plans. The HAZOP technique is widely used as a standard procedure for safety assessments in the petroleum and chemical industry, among many others. HAZOP utilizes the collective effort of a team to investigate possible variations and deviations from the design intent. The team will be led by an experienced facilitator. Indianapolis HAZOPs typically are facilitated by a third-party consultant or in-house SME. The team will possess a blend of expertise and skills reflecting the operation requirements of the asset and process being evaluated. The HAZOP team should include the following: a responsible person, an engineering resource, a team leader, an operator, a maintenance rep, a subject matter expert, and an HSE business partner, as well as a HAZOP leader. The team will assess all equipment found to be in scope against the Process Safety Design Standard, which can be found in Control Standard 54. The hazard conditions should cover situations that occur during normal and abnormal conditions, including maintenance activities and emergency operation. Recommendations made by the HAZOP team will result in actions to be completed for optimum risk reduction. Any deficiencies that generate a risk score in the red section of the risk matrix should be reviewed and physically verified in the field and addressed immediately. A technical review is the process by which a high consequence hazard asset or process is assessed for compliance with relevant standards or codes of practice. These may be country or state specific, internal control standards, or industry standards. The technical review team should identify the relevant industry standard and code of practice and use these as the basis for the technical review. These are typically coordinated by the RP along with the help from the HSE business partner. All high consequence hazards require PMSCs to be in place. Preventive maintenance procedures ensure our assets are maintained and in proper working order according to manufacturer code and internal control standards. All PMs related to high consequence hazard assets are categorized as being safety critical, so PMSCs within Maximo, where they are also tracked for completion. These assets and processes do have the potential to be shut down if the PMSCs are not finished by the completion date. A permit to work is required if work is being performed in or around a live high consequence hazard area, or if the work is not covered in the production work instruction and requires removal of equipment or its components. The permit to work form acts as a formal communication between operations and maintenance to control the process of all maintenance work being performed on high consequence hazard assets. Any changes made to the components on a high consequence hazard asset must be reviewed and approved by the RP along with their designated HSE business partner. The purpose of this is to maintain system integrity and safeguards during equipment changes. At the Indianapolis sites, we have a variety of operations involving high consequence hazards, such as the test cells, which house flammable liquids through delivery, storage, and distribution throughout the facility. We have numerous furnaces located across the Indy sites using flammable gases such as natural gas, propane, ammonia, hydrogen, and endogas. Chemical processes used in the plating, such as in heat treat special processes. Thermal and metal spray processes that use flammable gases at several different sites. And to help protect our workforce, there will be signs identifying high consequence hazard areas and guidelines where only authorized trained personnel will be allowed to enter. This training and authorization is specific to an area or asset. Level 1, which is this general awareness training you're receiving now, and Level 2, which is asset-specific training, will be required to enter into a high consequence hazard area. The risk owner of the asset, which will be named on the signage, can give Level 2 training. Level 3 and 4, which is the operator and maintenance training, is intended for all people who may operate or service high consequence hazard assets or processes. In summary, here are the key requirements for high consequence hazard areas. Responsibilities, like we discussed with the APRP accountability framework. Hazard operability study, which is your HAZOPs that need to be performed on all high consequence hazards. Your preventive maintenance, safety critical PMs, and periodic inspections of hazardous equipment and operations need to be put into place. A permit to work process and a change management process, and control of access to hazardous areas. High consequence hazards can be catastrophic. That's why it is critical for you to understand the information covered today. I'm Brandi Geyer, and this is High Consequence Hazards.